Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'm Owen James. This is your latest Rangers news. Is it time? Whatever you think for the good of Rangers, even if it's just a short-term measure, a short-term shock for long-term impact, to bring back Dave King, to put things right at our club, the Crisis Club, a club that does seem to be drifting listlessly on the blue sea of Ibrox out into the middle of a danger zone of just, I don't know what. We are in a position, I think, where it seems like rats deserting a sinking ship, with Craig Robertson leaving, obviously, James Bisgrove having previously left, Seb Jacobs having previously left, that John Bennett obviously having left as well, that things seem to be out of control at the club at the moment and things don't seem to be progressing well. What is happening at this club? Where is this club going? I hear the talk of a takeover, but I don't see any evidence of it. All I see is an old granddad called John Gilligan trying to run this club, and I don't know, a Park family in the background probably pulling the strings of what's going on. But a certain former Ranger, Derek Ferguson, has been talking about Dave King and I know sometimes that some people out there don't trust Dave King. They don't like Dave King. They call him Dodgy Dave. And, yes, I know his past. In the past, he has perhaps, got not the best of records in terms of business and things like that. But I think one thing you can't deny about Dave King is that he's a Rangers fan. He's someone who loves the club, and he's someone who knows how to get success at the club. He was behind obviously 55. He's someone that has the best intentions of the club. And I understand that a lot of what people say at times is sound bites just to kind of, to carry favor. That is what they do. And, a lot of people just say what they think people want to hear because they want to carry some favor there. But you've got to kind of sometimes embrace what you don't want, embrace the unacceptable to get what you want. And surely if you want the best for this club, you've got to kind of look at where we are as a club at this moment in time, listless, directionless, and run by the incompetent. A club that has no CEO, a club that has no chairman, a club that has no academy director, a club that has no director of football, a club that has no actual permanent B team manager, a club that doesn't seem to be able to link its academy up to its first team, a club that doesn't seem to be able to progress players from its academy to its first team, a club that doesn't seem to be able to make sound financial decisions, a club that doesn't seem to be able to make sound contract decisions, a club that doesn't be able to make sound transfer decisions, a club that can't direct a building project on time. I mean, this is all absolutely damning of this present board. And I know there's people out there that have criticized me for criticizing this board, but you tell me, apart from, yes, there is a bit of financial stability there, but overall, the decisions they make on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, smack of gross incompetence. And, I think a lot of these directors are in it purely for one thing, and that is the Rangers tie and the Rangers blazer and the right to say that they are Rangers directors. So, yeah, I think, we are in a position where we do need some direction. We do need some sort of reinvention, even if it is only a temporary measure to bring in new investment. And Dave King has spoken about bringing in new investment from abroad. And I genuinely think that if the new investor was to come in, they need to come in and be able to take over lock, stock and barrel of this club to clear out the absolute shambles that runs this club at this moment in time. The Park family need to go, and all the other people behind this board need to go as well, and give it, basically a clean slate. Because I think what this board have proved is that they are singularly unfit to run a football club like Rangers. They are just genuinely useless. Right, Derek Ferguson has been speaking about the situation. This is what he had to say. So this is what he had to say. He said, and I think it's a good thing, because if we keep sailing along the way we are, we will always going to be second best to Celtic. It's clear to see that it's been happening for a number of years. So I think the fans are getting a bit frustrated at the moment. I mean, no kidding, the fans are getting frustrated. Of course, we're getting frustrated at what's going on at the club. And it does seem that there is a kind of, I don't know what the word, a sentiment within the club that we are quite happy to be second fiddle to Celtic as long as the board continue to make their money back, as long as they continue to get the millions into the business. They don't seem to be interested in actually winning trophies. That's not what appears to be the interest. It appears to be solely in lining their own pockets. So, yeah, absolutely 100% agree with that comment. this is what he went on to say. He said, "There's no bigger Rangers fan than Dave King. He's already done it before. He's come in and he stopped 10 in a row for Celtic. He's calling for that EGM, and why not? I like the way he goes about his business." I've got to say, I respect this. I think there is a need for an EGM. I think there is a need to reform. I think there is a need to change at the club. I genuinely do think there is a need to rip out what is happening at the club and start again. And if that means Dave King comes in temporarily, so be it, to change things. So I have to say, I do agree with Derek Ferguson on this point. The fact that, like I said, put to one side whether you like Dave King or whether you don't like Dave King. Think about and consider whether or not this board are fit for purpose. You know, think about, is this board actually moving this club forward? Is this board putting this club in a position to win? No, it's not. It really isn't. And I think, if this board continues as it is, that it will be Celtic going for not 10 in a row, but 20 in a row at this rate. He went on to say, if it's going to bring in investment, I would have him straight through the door. Now, obviously, you have to take with a pinch of salt whatever Dave King says, because he's going to play to the masses. He's going to say what he thinks fans want to hear. He's going to bring up investment because he knows that fans want to hear about investment. We know that financially at this moment in time, we cannot compete with Celtic. We are light years behind them in terms of finances. I think, over the last sort of 12 months, we spent 21 million. They've spent 69.3 million. Champions League money, they're going to take 3 times what we take in the Europa League. It's just what it is. And, financially, you look at their books, you look at our books, and it's not even worth comparing. It's like, comparing a top 4 Premier League team to a bottom of the league Premier League team. It just isn't, realistic. We are light years behind them, and this cannot be allowed to continue, or else the gap is going to get even bigger. You are genuinely going to witness the Espanyolification of Rangers. The fact that within this city, we are going to become Espanyol to their Barcelona. We are going to become, to some extent, not even athletic. I mean, what? We're going to become Getafe to Real Madrid. We are going to become, I don't know, 1860 Munich to their Bayern Munich. We are going to become the poor relations if this board are going to continue to run the club as it is and make the decisions that they are. And, you can shoot me down for that, but I'd love you to tell me what in the last few years has given you the confidence that this board can get us back to the top of the game, that they can put us in a position to actually compete with them. What leads you to believe that the board genuinely can stop us becoming Espanyol to their Real Madrid, to their Barcelona, their Getafe to their Real Madrid, and 1860 Munich to their Bayern Munich? I don't genuinely know what is. So for me, I've got to say I agree with Derek Ferguson. I do think there is a need for a change at the top. I do believe that Dave King is that change on a temporary basis. That is the key word, temporary basis. Right, so let's try and get away from the board for a minute and talk about something else to do with Rangers. Now, you know what? I've heard some ridiculousness in my time. I've heard some absolutely ludicrous rumours in my time. I've heard some crazy stories. I've heard just some stupid stuff in my time. Now, I know it's the international break. I know the media are desperately straining around for stories about Rangers. I know the media are desperate for clicks, are desperate for news. But the one that I read today in a couple of media sources just genuinely made me go like this. So, allegedly, Jordan Henderson is unhappy at Ajax and is frustrated with his lack of playing time. And apparently, allegedly, we use this word a lot, Jordan Henderson wants to return to play in Britain, apparently. And Rangers are currently heading the queue of teams that are interested in bringing 34-year-old back to Britain. Now, I just find this an absolute joke. I genuinely do. Jordan Henderson to Rangers. I mean, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. I mean, first of all, Jordan Henderson is on £83,000 a week at Ajax. He's not going to get £83,000 a week at Rangers. And I very much doubt that he's going to come to a club where he's probably going to get a maximum of about £25,000 a week. I very highly doubt that. Now, it is a bit Aaron Ramsey. It's a bit, let's bring in a big name in January to kind of try and shut the fans up and satisfy the fans and kind of hoodwink the fans into thinking that we're serious about moving this club forward, or at least temporarily giving them a chance to move forward. So Jordan Henderson, I think this story is utter rubbish, absolute, genuinely utter crap that the media have invented. I can't see this one happening. I think it's ludicrous. So yeah, I think this story is utter rubbish. I can't see Jordan Henderson coming to Rangers. I think that one is a international break kind of clickbaity kind of story. There's another interesting story doing the rounds at the moment. Antoine Semenyo, who currently plays for Bournemouth, apparently was a target of Rangers in 2022, in the winter, in January 2022. But apparently Rangers turned down the opportunity to sign Semenyo for £5 million at that point in time, apparently not seeing the player as been a good fit for the club. Instead, we obviously signed Cyril Dessers, God help us. Antoine Semenyo is now scoring goals in the Premier League for Bournemouth and apparently is interesting Arsenal, Liverpool and Spurs. Yes, another fantastic piece of business by our recruitment department. Well done, boys. Well done. You know what? You know what? I honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I sit here on a night and I go through, multiple sites. I go through multiple bits of information. I sit down, I make notes, and I do, lots of different things. And I try and find something positive to say. I honestly do. But honestly, you just sometimes sit here and you pull your fucking hair out. You really do with them. You just, it's like watching a car crash. It really is. It's like you shouldn't be watching it, but you sit there and you just go, "Oh, that's bad. That's really bad, isn't it? That doesn't look good at all." And I'll be honest with you, I was talking to Sarah last night, Sarah McGeekin, guys. You might remember being on the pod. Big shout out to Sarah, top Rangers fan. Love Sarah a bit. And she was saying the same thing as me. She was talking about what a shambles we are at this moment in time, what an absolute disaster it is. And it genuinely is. I mean, you just genuinely worry about where our club is going, what is happening with our club. You genuinely do. It's a worry. It's a massive worry. I mean, it really is. I honestly, like I said, I do try and find things positive to say, but it's hard. It really is hard. I mean, it really, really genuinely is hard. I don't know. I mean, this was Sarah's comment was to me yesterday, what's going on with our club, man? It's a shambles. And I agree with it. It is an absolute shambles. I mean, if we don't beat Aberdeen by the end of the month, I can honestly see us finishing third this season, which will be an absolute disaster for the club. It really genuinely will. I don't want to sit here. I really genuinely do not want to sit here overnight when I make these videos and slag the club off and, just talk about the bad things and talk about what's going wrong. I want to talk about good things. I want to talk about great performances, wins, trophies, and brilliant decisions and top quality bits and pieces of business by the board and by the fans and by the managers and by the players. And I'm just struggling at the moment, genuinely struggling to find anything positive to say. I mean, I suppose one positive is that, former Rangers player Nathan Patterson, who we, realistically shouldn't have sold, and another player that's been kind of forced out by the fact that we're stuck with shit like James Tavernier at the club, is on the verge of returning to Everton to play for Everton. That's good news, obviously, that Nathan's heading back. Good news for Everton, good news for Scotland. But, like I said, I do try so hard to find something positive to say. And, it's hard at the moment. It really genuinely is hard to find something positive to say because of the way the club's been run, because of the way the club is progressing. And it's, it hurts. It genuinely fucking hurts. You want the club to get back to where it deserves to be, where it should be, back at the top of the Scottish game. And maybe I'm spoiled. As someone who grew up watching Rangers in the late 80s, early 90s, and watching the Walter Smith teams, watching the Graham Souness teams, watching the Dick Advocat teams, the Big Ek teams, and seeing what they achieved. Maybe I'm spoiled. You know, maybe the modern generation of kind of, you know, seeing what we truly are, but it's wrong. It needs to change. It needs to change. Well, guys, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. Please obviously smash the sub, smash the like. I'm honestly despairing with the channel at the moment. The views are shit and the subs are going backwards. I'm obviously doing something wrong, and I apologize if I'm upsetting you or doing something wrong. Thank you for watching. Please remember always, we are the people.